So how many of you really hate the thought of putting your dear furry companion in the cargo hold of a plane? Personally, it's never jived with me. No. I understand that legally pets are property, but let's be real about this. Any responsible pet owner probably doesn't think of their pet as a piece of property. They're part of the family. They're your friend. Your best friend in some cases. I've had plenty of pets over the years. Dogs, cats, and even tarantulas. Yes, really. Don't judge me. And I just can't really justify the thought of putting one inside of the cargo hold of a plane. It's not really designed for living things in the general sense. Like, at best, it would stress them out, and at worst, I don't know. I get that a lot of people do it, and I'm not judging here. Well, I am. But the point is, I wouldn't. And a lot of people weren't comfortable with that, including two individuals named Dan Weissel and Alyssa Bender, who, when planning a trip for themselves with their dog, didn't really want to put him in the cargo hold either. And so, they found an airline called Pet Airways. Travel with your best friend. They started operations in 2009, and at their height they actually had a fleet of 20 different planes. And the whole gimmick of the airline was that it wasn't for people at all. It was for pets, who could fly in the main cabin. When it first started, airfare per pet was around $150, which isn't really that bad, but the fares were based on the pet's size as well as the distance they were going. And this is where I think the airline kind of ran into some issues, because I like the idea, I do. As an animal lover, I absolutely adore the concept of having an airline that specialized in taking the pets, like, in the cabin and treating them like living beings. Part of the gimmick is that they'd be treated very well. They were checked into a pet lounge at each airport where the airline operated, and owners could even track their pets en route via their website. Staff members would give every single pet pre-boarding walks as well as bathroom breaks, and during the flight, the pets were under the care of specially trained attendants who knew how to handle animals. They were checked on at least every 15 minutes for the flight's duration, and it was certainly a far cry from the, cargo hold. When they first launched, they served 9 US cities, including New York, Baltimore/Washington DC, Chicago, Omaha, Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, Phoenix, Denver, and Los Angeles. They had planned to expand to 25 cities by late 2011, but they never managed to do that, as they ceased operations that year due to the fact that they just couldn't generate positive cash flows. They weren't making money, which, it's kind of an issue. It's really a major issue, honestly. If you're a company in operation, no matter how wholesome your business model, you still need to generate a profit, and I think that was where the big issue lies. How many people were really going to use this service? Like I said earlier, airfare per pet started at $150, but that was generally not what people wound up paying. At that rate, you might be able to get a lot of people to pay for this. But I tell you what you won't get them to pay, $1,200, which for a larger dog is what the rate would go up to. In fact, the average cost of a flight on Pet Airways was $500, which, I've had cheaper airline tickets for me, let alone for my dog. I love my pets, but look, we aren't made of money here, people. You gotta meet us in the middle somehow. Because the entire business strategy of Pet Airways implied that you were paying for an extra ticket for your pet. So that's already an extra expense from the get-go. Now, people who really love their pet would probably be able to justify it, but not when the pet's ticket is more expensive than the people's ticket. You see the problem here? As a result, their clientele would have been, people that could afford it. Only the wealthy individuals. And they make up a lot less of the overall population. Whenever you're charging for anything, you have to charge a fair rate, yes, to cover all your expenses. And of course, there has to be room for a profit margin. But the profit margin cannot be so high that it completely alienates, most people. And in this case, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. Most people just couldn't afford to do this, no matter how much they would have wanted to. So if they really had an issue with putting their pet in a cargo hold, they'd probably just drive. It's not like this airline flew internationally anyway. So it wasn't like they'd suddenly be forced to put their pet in a cargo hold. No, they could just drive it, or take a train, or anything else. I'm sure the pets had a nice time, and I really liked the concept, but I just think the pricing was way out of people's range. And it was never gonna last, but there is talk of reviving it. For one thing, the parent company, Paw Pet Company Incorporated, actually transferred into the pharmaceutical space? What? They changed their name to the Praxin Corporation. Okay, that's weird. But as of April 2021, the Pet Airways website is still up, and they do want to resume flights after the COVID-19 pandemic, which is over. I'm pretty sure most people would consider that over. They said hopefully by mid-2022, but if you recognize it's almost 2024, actually. So that's not going well. Not sure that's ever gonna happen, but if they do, my personal advice would be make it affordable. I think that's a reasonable request. And with that, a special thank you to all my underwater train finders, SomeDude267, Orange Glass, Benjamin Owens, Panzer Kitsune 131-232, Anzac A1, Arthur Roy, Tommy Rossini, Lord Captain Von Thrust III, Brian, Jack Carson's Roro Videos, Hayden DeGrow, Lord R444, Mark Holding, Murder Drones Doll, A-Person723, DM Tribal Typhoon, Alfonso La Puche, Royal Hunter 2860, Iserfer 1405, Charles Kwiatkowski, Matthew Wolf, Mr. Sleepy Matt Weaver, Tom Red Lion, NS Productions 8104, Hannah Bird, Hendrick Motorsports Fan 5, Wheeljack 8401, Rescues Greyhounds, The Baxter, Caleb Crosswhite, Ohio Trucker 1, Joshua Long, Andrew Bowen, Prez Drenton, Bradley Bowden, Dr. Racer 78, and Josh Johnson. Till next time, this is Darkness, to the Beach Wall of Fun. Farewell.